What's up guys, it's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here to let you guys know that we still have an art contest going on strong. Now the deadline is the end of January, so you guys got about a month left to send me all your submissions via Facebook to OneMindSyndicate/Facebook.com. It's not that hard, guys. So if you do have some submissions, send them in because we've already got quite a few, and it's looking pretty good, guys. For more information on that, simply go to our videos and you can see our art submission contest details, rules and regulations, and all that fun stuff on there. But for now, we come back to the 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe, and this time we are dealing with the Tyranids, more importantly, the Genestealers. Now I feel like these guys are the bigger threat compared to any other Tyranid out there, because they are more stealthy and infiltrating. That doesn't make any sense, but let's find out more about the Genestealers. First and foremost, a Genestealer is a species of Tyranid used as the ultimate shock troop. Their purpose is to advance ahead of the Hive Fleet and pinpoint potential planets for the Tyranids to devour. Now they are amongst the most deadly creatures throughout the entire galaxy, because they combine high cunning, lightning-fast reactions and movement with large, extremely sharp claws that can rip through the toughest of armor in mere seconds. Now, Genestealers were first encountered by the Imperium before any other Tyranid species. Before the Imperium had knowledge of these Tyranids, they thought that Genestealers were a separate species indigenous to the moons of Ymgarl. The first Genestealer Cult was also encountered by the Imperium on Gosar Quintus. Now when the battle for Macragge with the Hive Fleet Behemoth took place, the Techno-Magi spent years trying to classify the bodies of the dead Tyranids, including Genestealers that were used as shock troops. Further investigations confirmed that all Genestealers were in fact Tyranids. So the truth that infiltrating Genestealers were working their way to the galaxy for thousands of years prior became known to all the Imperium's forces. The information on Genestealers was called the Ordo Xenos Departamento Analyticus record, and it had the designation Genestealer. The common title was a Stealer, a Leech, a Scuttler, a Claw Fiend, or a Ghost. The name of the species was Corporator Hominis, or Corporator Ymgarli. Now the average height is about 1.9 meters for a Genestealer, while the weight is about 0.3 tons. Again, they were first encountered on Ymgarl, and their role was infiltration. Now on this Departamento Analyticus record, it was a threat evaluation of extremely high. So these guys ain't nothing to fuck with. The physiology of the Genestealer. Now they are stronger and hardier than humans, and they are able to withstand even the most hostile environments unprotected, including the hard vacuum of space. If no harm befalls them, they are capable of living for centuries. Now they are a highly intelligent species with a disproportionately large and adaptive brain that is housed inside their bulbous head. They combine extraordinary intelligence and subtlety of mind with remarkable strength and quickness of body. Now Genestealers are bipedal, they standing on a perpetual crouch, and they have two sets of arms. One is usually equipped with human-like hands, while another one has powerful ripping claws. Now Genestealers do have an interlinking telepathy similar to the hive mind, which is generated by the entire Tyranid race. This hive mind is called the brood mind, and it is a smaller and more localized version of the hive mind. It is used to exert complete control over their host victims, and also for communication. Their telepathic link with each other can function clearly and without restriction. It also acts as a psychic beacon to draw a hive fleet towards infestation of a particular planet. And now on to the different subspecies of Genestealers, starting with the Broodlord. So the Broodlord is always the first Genestealer to make planetfall when the Tyranids first infest the world. They are even more powerful than the standard Genestealer and are specifically adept at infiltrating to get close to the enemy. They are very adaptable and highly intelligent, as well as being a synapse creature. Their powerful talons can cut through most materials with ease. Now, the founder and leader of a Genestealer cult is known as a Genestealer Patriarch. The Patriarch is always the oldest and most pure of the Genestealers inside their cult. He is the first Genestealer of the group, and all other members are physically and psychically linked to him, though he does have a higher level of intelligence than any of the other Genestealers. Over time, he can become a very powerful psyker and grows in size and strength to a bloated and immobile appearance. A Patriarch whose cult is on the verge of taking over a world becomes a psychic beacon, attracting Tyranids to the planet. As the Tyranids approach it, it will fall under the power of the Tyranid hive mind and begin leading the cult in attacks on vulnerable positions to facilitate the inevitable invasion. And now on to the mutated Genestealers known as the Yumgarl Genestealers. The Yumgarl Genestealers were first encountered on the moon by the same name, long before the arrival of Hive Fleet Behemoth. Here they lie dormant, hiding, for they consume anything that disturbs their hibernation. Now this is due to their unique ability of being able to alter their physical characteristics via a form of limited shapeshifting. The drawback being that they require a lot to feed, and they either need to feed constantly or hibernate, or else they will starve to death. Now they do possess feeding tentacles instead of a mouth, resembling those of the lictor, which they use to suck their prey dry of blood, which is their only source of nourishment. Now Yumgarl Genestealers, unlike any other Tyranid creature, are outcasts. The hive mind has no wish to reabsorb their genetic material in fear that their uncontrollable genetic instabilities will forever taint the Tyranid gene pool. The Genestealer Cult has a variety of differing Genestealers within it. For example, you have the Puri, which is a full Genestealer that starts the infection cycle by inserting their genetic material into a host victim. As the infestation spreads and the cult grows, the first Genestealer takes the role of a Genestealer Patriarch and often grows larger into an obese and psychic monstrosity. And that leads us to the infection generation, the Contagi. The host victims, otherwise known as the Contagi, return to their own societies and begin to have an urgent need to find a mate and begin a family. This mate also becomes infected with Genestealer DNA. Contagi still physically resemble other members of their species, though they may have a slight blue or purplish pigment into their skin, and they can be psychically controlled by the Patriarch to become mindless slaves, making them the perfect infiltrators. The first generation are called the Malignancy. As a Contagi mate, the Genestealer genetic material passes on to their offspring, the Malignancy, and are also known as Genestealer Acolytes. The Malignancy are animals, slow, clumsy, and moronic. Within the cult, they generally regarded as expendable shock troops. They often possess 3 or even 4 arms, but they are unable to use their host species technology or weaponry. The second generation hybrid are the offspring of the Malignancy and are still referred to as Acolytes. They are born unique, no two are ever alike. However, this generation can be selectively bred, using their parents like livestock, and they are often manipulated to produce such traits such as improved speed, strength, or aggression. They still bear more resemblance to their host species than a Genestealer, but are still unable to use their host's technology. And then we come to the third generation, the true hybrids. Now these can be mistaken for a member of their host species if they wear disgusting clothes or they stay in dark areas. Some of this generation are capable of using weapons of their host species. The fourth generation is known as the Primacy, or Neophytes, and they are almost indistinguishable from their host species, with only slight physical deformities. Some still give away such signs as being bald. They are often able to blend into the host society and work and luring, kidnapping, or doing whatever it takes to provide more hosts for the Genestealer Cult. Some rare individuals of this generation have psychic powers, and they can become a Genestealer Magus or a Genestealer Primus. Now, between the 4th and the 5th generations, the Genestealer Cult will prepare for an all-out war. They will spawn Metamorphs, which are creatures that echo the Tyranid Hive Fleet that are built for war alone. And now we finish the cycle with the 5th generation, the Puri once again. Paradoxically, the Genestealer's DNA re-emerges within the 5th generation, giving birth to a full Genestealer, albeit one showing some physical characteristics of their host species. Thus, the cycle can begin anew, as the new Genestealers have the potential to infiltrate other worlds and become a Patriarch once again. Sometimes the host DNA does not fully integrate with the DNA of the Genestealer, and a hybrid is created, a hybrid known as the Genestealer Aberrant. Now they are misshapen, lumpy, and sometimes inhumanly strong, but they are dim-witted, although their instinctive behavior allows them for a need to defend their brood, which makes them a valuable asset to the cult. Oftentimes they wield heavy industrial tools into battle, which always leads to a grisly death for anybody who comes face to face with the Aberrant. Another hybrid that could be created is called a Genestealer Familiar. Now, should a Patriarch or Magus of a Genestealer Cult dominate a region completely, the psychic shadow that gathers around him will grow darker and thicker until it begins to coalesce. This ever-shrinking miasma hardens into a many-limbed form known as a Familiar. When the Familiar is fully manifested, it skitters from its hiding place and runs to the heel of the xenoform that unconsciously created it. From that point on, it is as much a part of his body as any other body part. And that is unfortunately all the time I have for you guys today. Let me know what you thought about this horrendous lore on the Genestealers of the Tyranid race. Did you enjoy the many subspecies? Perhaps you wish me to give you full lore on the cults of the Genestealers. Or maybe you want lore on the overall Tyranid hive fleets. Again, let me know in the description or in the comments down below, because you can't do that in the description. Anyway guys, thank you for being awesome. Don't forget, we have Patreon. We do have an art contest going on, and the winners have already been announced for the 40k giveaway. So if you want to know who the winners are, you can check into our previous videos. I believe it is either the one about the Star Child or the Children of the Emperor. So take a look at those videos, guys. And as always, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of OneMindSyndicate, and I am signing out.